Well, we gave a report, and all but one of the council members behind the dais were here for that report at Administrative Committee. Happy to roll this out again, however. As you know, the Partnership for Economic Prosperity is an organization that is intended to assist and provide a regional perspective for economic development in Latah County. We previously had a couple of different iterations of economic development from Latah Economic Development Council on one hand, and the city for a time had a half-time economic development specialist who we had on staff. Those two efforts were not as productive as we had hoped, so we decided to partner with others to try and provide more of a regional perspective, similar to that which has been so successful in the Magic Valley and Twin Falls area, where each of the partner institutions may retain their economic development perspectives or their efforts, but they're also coordinated through a regional economic development coordination, I guess, organization, if you will. So the Partnership for Economic Prosperity will get right to, at least I thought we would. There we go. That top is our mission statement. Our purpose is to create and implement a comprehensive program of economic development to produce quality employment opportunities in Latah County compatible with local values. I wouldn't have read that except that we have, it means a lot for people to know that not only are we approaching economic development comprehensively, but it's Latah County wide. There are things that occur in the rural parts of the county, other cities besides Moscow, that may be very beneficial for those other cities or the rural areas, but may not be appropriate in Moscow. Likewise, there are activities that will be appropriate in Moscow that may not be the best in some of these other places. Having that region-wide perspective and a true county perspective means that everybody wins if there is economic development effort provided in, or economic development is pursued in any of our institutional partners. So this is a 501c6. 501c6 allows us to, we'd be a nonprofit IRS recognized organization, and that has been filed for. We'll get to that in a few moments when we get to progress. This is the way it was set up. We have our board of directors will have a nominating committee process, but we have our institutional partners, which would be the City of Moscow, the Moscow Chamber of Commerce, Latah County, and the University of Idaho. Out of those, the City of Moscow, Latah County, and University of Idaho will be contributing $40,000 per year. We've asked each of these institutions for a 3-year commitment, knowing that you cannot budget outside or commit outside the budget year. However, from each of these organizations, we've received assurances that they are willing to provide this level of funding, at least they intend to, for a period of 3 years in order that this organization get up on its feet and running. That 3 years is a little bit, it's got two aspects to it. One is that we need that sort of continuity in order to provide the stability for employing an executive director and to become viable, but also that we believe that it is imperative that PEP provide value to each of these organizations. So we'll get to a list of deliverables that you can expect that PEP will deliver to you, and regular reports, so on and so forth. So this isn't something where you fund it once, you keep funding it for the next 10 years, and you're not sure what benefits you've gotten out of it. So those three are the large institutional partners. The Chamber of Commerce, $5,000 annual commitment. They will also have an office space that will house the PEP executive director and provide office support as well. Obviously, their commitment can't be as high as the other institutional partners, but the inclusion of the Chamber of Commerce really is a step forward in economic development. In the past, it was felt that the Chamber of Commerce perhaps represented more of the retail side of economic development. We believe that it is representative of businesses and that businesses should have a seat at the table. So they've been embraced and have been offered a board membership and partnership, and they've emphatically and enthusiastically embraced that. Okay, besides that, you've got those big four, if you will, and then in order to make sure that economic development efforts would also be extended to cities, other municipalities within Latah County, we've also got a proposal that we will be proposing to those other Latah County incorporated cities for a much smaller contribution, more in line with their ability to participate, but also to have a board membership for one of those, a board membership, one board membership representing the whole of those cities. So they will be invited to participate, become members, LCIC members, we call them, Latah County Incorporated Cities, and they will come up with a method by which they will elect or appoint someone to sit in the board position for those Latah County Incorporated Cities. In addition to that, we have 2 at-large commercial member positions on the board. The idea there is that there will be a significant financial participation, that this isn't intended to be, this is intended to be good, solid economic development. And people who are there, we expect to participate and we expect to put something on the line. So this is a skin in the game contribution, and we expect that we will have 2 at-large commercial members who can also have board memberships. We also have 1 ex officio member of the board representing the Idaho Department of Commerce. So the Idaho Department of Commerce has always been present at these meetings, and we want that sort of statewide involvement if we can get it. Okay, organizational responsibilities. Let's talk a little bit first about things we have done so far, and then we'll come back to those. We've got commitments from the partners. We have presented to the Chamber of Commerce. We've met with, informally with the University of Idaho, presented to the City of Moscow on several occasions. Tonight is that final occasion. And we present to Latah County on Wednesday. So we wanted to get those financial commitments from our partners so we can move ahead. We are on a trajectory here to launch within the next month, hopefully sooner. Articles of incorporation and bylaws have been adopted, amended even, and we've had our first organizational meeting. We've developed an organizational budget that will allow us to proceed, employ an executive director, and provide support services for that executive director. As I indicated, the 501c6 status has been filed for. We've developed a job description for the executive director. Presentations, this is, as I've said, one of the final ones that we're getting done. And lastly, as soon as those presentations are done, we will proceed with a job search. And as final financial commitments are fulfilled, we will go out to search, and we expect that search to take approximately 4 weeks. And we hope to have somebody online sometime in June or early July. Okay, let's go back and talk about organizational responsibilities. You see that those first 7 bullets, 3 bullets and then sub-bullets. We'll talk about what we expect from the executive director and the organization. So PEP will serve as the coordinating agency for economic development activities for the city. That is not to say that PEP will provide all of the economic development activities. We have economic development that comes out of a varying number of sources, from arts to community development, public works, and administration. So we will have other efforts that are also aimed at economic development. Again, promote the collaborative efforts of our institutional, commercial, individual, and LCIC members in order to stimulate cooperation and joint action. There's a saying that we've heard bandied about at a lot of economic development meetings, and that is that economic development is a team sport. You look at it from that perspective, you support each other, and hopefully because of that support, you'll be viewed as being collaborative, and you'll have people who will want to come here because they want to be in an organization or in an area where these entities do not compete as much as they support each other. Not saying there will not be competition as to where's the best place for someone to develop, the best place for them to pursue business, but it will be complementary rather than competitive. Liaison, Idaho Department of Commerce, U.S. Economic Development Administration, CETA, Clearwater Economic Development, and Clearwater Resource Conservation and Development Councils. So this organization will hopefully focus those efforts, again, for all of Latah County, City of Moscow, and all of our institutional entities toward these organizations. Now, when you get to the deliverables, this is really where the rubber meets the road and what the city can expect from PEP. And that is the first, we need a comprehensive assessment of our local economy within 4 months of a notice to proceed. It's an aggressive timeline, but a lot of this information has been developed and lies piecemeal in a lot of different documents. We believe that in order for us to have a comprehensive approach, we need to have a comprehensive assessment. So that will be one of the first things that's done.
Question, Gary, how are we going to do that?
Well, the executive director will pursue that. We have some money for professional assistance. As you know, a lot of this information has been developed, so we'll have to assess first and then determine how to proceed.
And the reason I ask that question, MC does a bunch of this stuff too, don't they? So is that who you're referring to?
MC does it. Stephen Peterson, University of Idaho. There's even been some economic assessments done by Washington State University, State of Idaho. So there's a bunch of stuff that needs to be done. A matter is coordinating it. A lot of information is developed by the U.S. Census Bureau. So hopefully we'll look at all that information, Idaho Department of Labor and Commerce and Commerce Department. So it'll be coordinating at first and then looking and trying to determine which is the best way to proceed. Okay, after you have the assessment, then you proceed with the strategy. And that is after the assessment's done, we'll begin to draft an economic development strategy that will be looked at and hopefully adopted or accepted by all the institutional partners and as proposed by the Board of Directors of PEP. What these will do, the strategy will include the sub-bullets there, economic development programs that are based upon local competitive advantages. Again, we've talked about clustering, we've talked about utilizing the Palouse Knowledge Corridor, utilizing the quality of life that our area affords, and leveraging those to get the types of businesses that make sense on the Palouse. Business retention, development, expansion, and recruitment, including internal and external marketing. Again, it's not only bringing businesses in, it's retaining the businesses that we have and providing them with opportunities to expand. So recruitment, you don't want to hang your hat on going out and fishing for new entities to come in. Certainly that is an economic development strategy, one that's complementary to doing what seems to have worked best in our area, and that is to grow these businesses and provide them opportunities for expansion. A business services portfolio. What is offered in the area? What advantages do we have here? Implement the strategy, providing monthly written progress reports to city administration, quarterly written reports and presentations to the council. So you can expect that you will see quarterly reports on progress. This is part of the commitment of PEP to not just work in the dark somewhere outside of the light of day, but to make sure that the council gets to look at, just as everybody, every partner gets to look at what PEP is doing and put their oar in the water through their board member to determine if it is the appropriate way to go. Okay. Support and promotion of existing and future goals and projects of the Moscow Urban Renewal Agency. And again, this is something that urban renewal is another tool in our tool chest. And in Moscow particularly, urban renewal has been very effective, as I hope I can get nods from our two council urban renewal members. But we've also been approached by a couple of Latah County cities within the past 5 years saying, you know, we've seen some of the things you guys have done. Is it possible, you know, what would happen? Could we do that? And that's something that this organization might be able to take that information out and determine if Potlatch, Kendrick, Genesee, somebody thought that they could get an advantage out of that and enhance their economic development opportunity, that this might be a clearinghouse for that as well. So again, it's just another opportunity to collaborate. And then provide information to the city about grant opportunities to the city and PEP Partners for Economic Development. You just heard from Elisa Anderson, who's a very good grants manager and does a great job for the city. However, there are times when I will pick up some grant proposal or grant announcement somewhere that she hasn't heard of. Not very often, but every now and then. So any of that information that we can get, we believe will benefit our community. So, that being said, I'll stand for any questions you've got.
Dan?
So, we're looking at the 8 other incorporated cities in the county, or 7? I mean, I don't know where Onaway is at the moment, so. they have
As
a mayor.
far as I know, Onaway is not incorporated, but it'd be everybody else.
So that's another that's their $3,500 buys their, all of them vote for one representative.
Yes.
To represent all of them.
Otherwise, the board gets too big and it's unwieldy.
And that was what I was worried about, was that seemed to be the problem with the LEDC, no,
Yes.
PC. I can't
LEDC.
remember.
LEDC.
Too many acronyms out there. Anyway, that they just got too unwieldy and too many votes and too many voices, and just got to where actually nothing seemed to happen. So, I'd like to, if we can keep it tight, I think that's going to help a lot.
Yeah, if I may, the accountability is a big thing. Certainly, the City of Moscow, U of I, Latah County, all the folks who are putting in a lot of money have the right to expect that they'll be getting service commensurate with their contributions. However, there also needs to be that consideration of the smaller cities don't have those types of funds to put up. Latah County has always been supportive of those cities, and this is an opportunity for them to have an actual voice at the table, which is something that has never been tried before, to try and get that collaborative voice.
Well, this is a lot more result-oriented than what we ever had with LEDC, too. That was more of a talk, feel good about ourselves type of a thing, and this has got much more meat where we can actually get something. And when we have quarterly reports in front of us, the council will be able to really measure where we're going with this thing.
I just want to check for clarification. So you want to definitely start it for 3 years, like you said, for continuity and vitality and all that kind of stuff. And then each of the entities that you've already talked with has given their 3-year commitment?
Have indicated that that is their intent. It's like getting a grant.
Yeah.
Even though you can't commit outside of your budget, the intent is to continue it.
And the idea, Catherine, with that is results. I mean, you don't do, if you get no results, there's no reason to keep doing the same thing you're doing without a change. So that's.
And I have one more question. It had to do with CUSP. Remember when we had that meeting? So is this an iteration of CUSP?
No, it is. It would be complementary. CUSP, of course, is the branding effort done through a tourism grant by the Chamber of Commerce, University of Idaho, and the city. And the idea there was to get a community brand, if you will, so that we had something that would promote Moscow's uniqueness and attract people here. One of the ideas for that was when you think about something, some catchphrase, some campaign, you think of Moscow. And
Unique to us.
yes, and it will help us with recruitment to the University of Idaho, which hopefully will in turn result in more business and greater economic development opportunities. So they're complementary. Just as this organization would be complementary to the Palouse Knowledge Corridor, complementary to CETA, complementary to Clearwater RC&D, and SWETA over Southwest Washington. Southeast Washington, excuse me. Economic Development Association. So what we try to do is we'll collaborate with whoever we can to try and provide as broad-based economic development as we can. If I can comment once about the LEDC too. The LEDC, when it was formed, one of its main job was to manage the North Idaho Business Technology Incubator. So when that gig ended years ago, it was a matter of finding their way. So I think that they were effective as much as they could be for a time, but again, interest has waned. So we believe that this will inject new life in the economic development effort.
Hey, Gary, what do you want us to do? Accept this report? What do you, have a motion? What
You need
would you like?
you need direction?
I'll
or-
move that we
No.
accept the report.
There you go.
I'll second Jim's motion.
Okay, Jim made a motion to accept the report with Dan's second. I'll start to roll with Catherine.
Aye.
All right.
All right.
Aye.
Okay, we're
Okay.
accepting of PEP.
As far as next steps, we will be sending a bill to the institutional partners and hopefully going out for an economic development director job search. So we'll be keeping you regularly updated as our efforts there as well.